A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News with me, Sam Kalisa. This Thursday, April 8th, 2021, the Minister of State for East African Community Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Professor Nshuti Manasseh, received a group of young volunteers from Japan that work in the cooperative called Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, who had left in March last year after COVID-19 outbreak and have now returned to the country to continue their projects here in Rwanda. Jen Mutoni reports.
It's been over a year since these young volunteers from the Japan International Cooperation Agency had postponed their activities in Rwanda due to COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. As they officially returned to resume them, their first visit was at the Kigali Gisozi Memorial Site, where they were told the history about the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
This is the first time to visit memorial. So, and I was born in 1992, so very short time. So it is a very special opportunity for us, and we don't forget this genocide. We are very looking for working the people of Rwanda, and we proud of the Rwandan people, and we would like to work hand in hand the people of Rwanda.
The ambassador of Japan to Rwanda, His Excellency Mr. Masahiro Imai, says Rwanda-Japan relations have been long-standing and that Japan is expanding their projects in partnership with Rwanda for development.
So, as one of the developed countries in the world, Japan is very keen to support Rwanda in many sectors, and we also greatly appreciate the stability and the leadership of political situation in this country. We value a lot the good management of the government in general. That's why our cooperation area has been extended to many sectors.
The Minister of State for East African Community Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Professor Nshuti Manasseh, says the return of these young volunteers to their activities is one of the signs that the international community appreciates Rwanda's efforts in combating the COVID-19 virus.
They went back home because of COVID. They thought we want to manage this pandemic. But after assessing what we have done, they felt at home and they said, okay, we have done very well, so we are coming back. So they have come back because they feel we have done very well in management of COVID. So they are comfortable going back to Musanze, Kayonza, wherever they are going to be, because they believe we have really managed the problem as good or better than most have done. So they are okay, they are fine.
The heads of the JICA volunteer program says that next month more volunteers will be arriving and they will keep coming every other month so that by the end of 2021 they will have all summed up to 30. Some of these volunteers are involved in science education, vegetable growing, community development and infrastructural activities. Jane Mutoni reporting for RTV.
Moving ahead, the Rwandan embassy in Senegal with non-resident missions in charge of Mali, Gambia, Cape Verde and Guinea-Bissau organized the 27th commemoration of the 1994 genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi in Rwanda. The commemoration, which brought together Rwandans and friends of Rwanda from Senegal, took place at Place du Souvenir Africain, where there is a memorial of the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Patrick Karamaga, the chairperson of the Rwandan community in Senegal, who testified as a survivor of the genocide against the Tutsi, explained the tragic history of spreading hatred among Rwandans that started from nursery schools, urging Rwandans to continue to work together for the betterment of the country. Today, we remember to light the candle of hope for our children the youth so that they can build a united Rwanda. The Rwanda whose children will never kill each other because of ethnicity. The Rwandan ambassador to Senegal, Jean-Pierre Karabaranga, praised the relationship between Rwanda and Senegal and the way this country provided place for putting a memorial for the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. He touched on the courage of Captain Mbaye Diagne, a Senegalese native who was killed while rescuing the Tutsi during the genocide as he was on a UN peacekeeping mission under the UNAMIL forces. He called on all people to continue fighting genocide deniers and those who spread genocide ideology. After 27 years, Rwanda and Rwandans have devolved, but we are still fighting genocide deniers. There are not many in Senegal, but they are elsewhere around the world. They use internet, mostly social media. We encourage Rwandans to fight against genocide deniers and those who spread the ideology to the young people. The ambassador of Gabon to Senegal, Michel Régis-Onanga Ndiaye, who spoke on behalf of the ambassadors of international organizations' representatives in Senegal, called on countries to deal with perpetrators and deniers of the genocide against the Tutsi hiding in different countries. Eugenie Rukia Ndiaye, who lived in Rwanda, highlighted the grief and pain of women who were widowed by the genocide, which took their children as well. He also spoke about their courage and role in building the Rwandan community after the genocide against the Tutsi. He shares the thought with Mabuso Thiam, a Senegalese who spoke about the progress Rwanda has made in the aftermath of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, pointing out that Rwandans are enjoying the pride, dignity, peace and security that never existed before in Rwanda. The representative of the Senegalese government and executive secretary in the Ministry of Culture and Communication in Senegal, Habib Léon Ndiaye, praised the efforts of Rwandans in the aftermath of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi and said that Senegal will continue to strengthen ties between the two countries. The commemoration program for Rwandans and Friends of Rwanda from Senegal, Mali, Gambia, Cape Verde, and Guinea-Bissau will continue on the 10th with the help of technology. The Association of Students Survivors of the 1994 Genocide against the Tutsi, ARG, is grateful to the President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, for giving them land in Nyagatare district, which currently earns them about 30 million Rwandan francs per quarter. Jed Mwadi reports.
In 2010, the Association of Student Survivors of the Genocide received 130 hectares of land. They use it for livestock and agriculture, looking at it as a would-be property left by their parents who were killed during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
We have 4.5 hectares of land and another 25 hectares where we grow corn and beans. We have another part that is 30 hectares. We have planned to plant crops that will be sold on the international market in collaboration with Garden Fresh. This includes pepper, fruits and maize. During the last season we planted up to 80 tons. Based on the market, we are targeting a revenue of about 17 million. It has improved a lot in our lives. We thank the government for giving us more hope of survival. We are also achieving a lot in life thanks to this property. We have a lot of people graduating and you can see that we will be men and women in the near future.
The Association of Student Survivors of the Genocide members have recently begun to change the breeds of livestock so as to make a better living from their farm.
In the past, there was 200 cows, but now we have 56 cows left. This is in line with the plan to move away from low milk yielding cows to high milk yielding cows. We are adopting Jersey and Frisian cows with high milk production capacity. The cows we used to have provided between 5 to 7 liters each, but now we are collecting between 10 and 15 liters from each cow a day. The goal is to get 20 to 30 liters of milk from each cow a day.
The The leadership of the Association of Student Survivors of the Genocide says that the benefits they derive are beneficial to members and youth in general. They are currently building a training center for agriculture and animal husbandry and are planning to build a hotel.
We have come to know the benefits of maize, beans, agriculture and animal husbandry. We are looking at what we can do to help people who want to do such projects but are still scared. There are bridges we are building and a place to provide training to those people who are hesitant to start big things. The first phase of the project will cost Rwandan francs 200 million, but the entire project is worth Rwandan francs 3 billion. This land means a lot to some of us. There are people that lost land during the genocide. Young survivors lost ownership of their parents' properties, but this property is a reminder that they have inheritance and a property to call their own in this country. We have land and would like to build a place that everyone will look at and learn something new. A place that will constantly remind that it is a shelter given to them by the president.
In addition to the money they save to invest in other profitable projects, the rest of the income from the property is used to address daily needs. Umngari Jade, RTV News.
Kanguyu Marie-Louise, a resident of Rwanda district, is the lone survivor of the 1994 genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi in a family of more than 50 people. She says good governance after the tragedy that befell Rwandans 27 years ago has given her hope for survival. Ethan Tashobia reports.
At the age of 14 during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, Kanguyu Marie-Louise was left alone as the only survivor in the family of 9. More than 50 people in her extended family were killed during the genocide against the Tutsi. They lived in the former Bichumbi commune, which is the present-day Rwamagana district. At the end of the genocide, Kanguyu lived in an orphanage where she continued her primary education and later enrolled in secondary and tertiary education in accounting.
He took me in, but unfortunately he died later. We continued to live despite the hardships. He died when I had become a bit mature and I continued my studies. Thanks to Farge, that paid my school fees, but in my mind something was missing and I had to study hard to be able to survive and become an important person in life, because that's what my father always wanted me to be.
The 14-year-old girl who was left alone in the family began to have hope for life.
While in the orphanage, I took care of my life and focused on my studies, not knowing how my life would turn out to be. But as time went on, I realized that anything was possible, especially if we followed diligently the guidance of some government officials, and that was a challenge for me to always step up and out of my dark history.
She coped with the difficult life of living without her family, only to rebuild herself, now with a husband and 4 children.
As someone who was left alone and found a husband and gave birth, I feel alive again because I feel like I have a family. I feel like I have descendants. Yes, they can't fill the gap of the family I lost. But when I look at some, I see the faces of our home. When I look at them, I immediately feel I'm not alone.
In the Muyumbu sector, Rwamagana district, from where she lives to where her family lived and was killed from, there is a distance of about 5 kilometers. From time to time, she visits the remains of her family's home to reminisce on the beautiful childhood she had, but was cut short by the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Despite all that, Kanguyu is currently embroidered in development struggle. After graduating from the university and working for the government for a short time, she is now an entrepreneur. She runs a mini supermarket. Kanguyu reserves a special mention to those that saved her life and enabled her an opportunity to live in the post-genocide Rwanda. The 1994 genocide against the Tutsi claimed more than 1 million people, leaving orphans and widows and destroying infrastructure. For the past 27 years, survivors of the genocide have been building and contributing to the country's development. Reporting for RTV News, Ethan Tashabia.
On behalf of the entire news and technical team that made it happen, thank you very much for being with us. My name is Sam Kalisa. Have a great evening.